Well, there is optimism in the air, significant diplomatic activity in the region, and a clear sense of momentum towards a potential hostage and ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. But will there actually be a deal? That is indeed the question at this moment, as we are seeing a number of officials arriving in the Middle East to try and get this deal across the finish line. The latest arrival in the region appears to be the CIA director, Bill Burns, who has been the top U.S. official in these negotiations for months now. He often travels and arrives in the region at critical junctures in the process, and this does indeed appear to be one of those critical moments yet again, following visits by the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan last week, President Biden's top Middle East advisor Brett McGurk also in the region, and of course we've seen an Israeli delegation, Hamas delegations in both Cairo as well as in Doha, Qatar. And accompanying this flurry of diplomatic activity, you also have the rhetoric. We've heard optimism from the Americans, from the Israelis, from all sides really, saying that they believe that we are closer than ever to a deal. Hamas also joining that optimistic rhetoric yesterday in a statement saying that they believe a deal is, quote, possible. A Hamas source also saying that the state of talks is, quote, positive and optimistic. But they are also offering a note of caution, as so many others involved in the process are as well. Hamas saying that a deal is possible as long as Israel does not continue to make additional last-minute demands in this process. And all sides are really urging caution, even as they are sounding an optimistic note, because we have seen so many times before these two sides get very, very close to a potential agreement, but ultimately a deal not falling through. But officials in the region believe that conditions are now at their ripest for an agreement to actually take place, and there's no question that it is very much needed. As we are watching in Gaza over the last 24 hours, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, 38 people have been killed, more than 200 have been injured, and of course the humanitarian conditions in Gaza certainly not improving. Much needed aid would get in if a ceasefire were to go in place, and then of course there are those 100 hostages still held in the Gaza Strip, about half of whom Israel believes are still alive. Their fate, of course, also hanging in the balance. Jeremy Diamond, CNN, Jerusalem.